said as well, right? So, from my understanding, by the way, you have to recognize that I'm representing Dr. Nii. So, yeah, his words and my voice. I'm trying to kind of explain it to the best of my knowledge. And if there's anybody in the room who understands it more than I do, can also throw up something. Okay, so as I was speaking, I mean, there's a trust mechanism in the DNS infrastructure. So say if I'm looking for a domain, there's a process of speaking to the root who then tells you talk to this, talk to that, and so forth, right? So that trust has served us well, and we believe it works, right? So one of the reasons why we store the stamp address, which is a payment account in the DNS, is that there's a challenge of the address normally being hacked if you kind of just paste it on the website, okay? Then someone can hack and deface it and change it to his address. So we are thinking that if we put it in the DNS, there's a trust mechanism there. So if I'm retrieving it, I am sure that the process, the trust process has gone through before the address was fetched out to the consumer to pay. Now, when you come to the blockchain, remember that it's a peer-to-peer transaction, right? So typically, we do not need someone to ask questions to get validations because we believe the technology does not need intermediaries, right? So, maybe not. Yeah, we don't need, it's peer-to-peer. Once I want to send you funds, I don't need to send it to a central authority.
But you trust the miners to do the job for you.
Yes,
yes. So at the end of the day, it's about who do you trust.
Well, that's true. And
do you know who the miners are?
I remember, anyway, let me give you a little great story. Durand and Prof have been playing a lot of games when it comes to the DNS and the blockchain. And of course, there are challenges there. So they each try to kind of bring out the flaws, if there are any in the DNS. But he seems to find a lot of flaws with the blockchain technology. But yes, we mine. The miners mine, right? But they are not the guys that we actually trust. Okay? They do a work, a very complicated work. And then we, the community, the participants, are able to enjoy their work after the miner verify that the work that a particular miner has done is correct and so can be added to the blog. So the fact that he did the work and we are able to validate that the work that a particular miner was correct and added to the blog doesn't necessarily mean that we are trusting them to do work. I don't know if I'm making sense. Yeah, thank you.
Actually, you are making a lot of sense. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Alain. Thank you, Vitas. Any other comments, questions? Yes, Doc. Please, roving mic, Dr. Durand in front here. Please introduce yourself again. I was just acknowledging you.
I am Carlos Nyirenda from Malawi.mw. We are into names in this workshop, so it's just a curiosity question. Why is this called stamp?
Why is it called? You mean the name stamp?
Yes.
Wow, that's a very good question. Are you interested in why the .Africa is added?
Well, that's the business here.
Okay, so honestly, I don't know if there is a philosophical meaning, or if there's any meaning to the choice of the word stamp. So maybe when we see Nii, we will, I think he proposed a name, we will ask him. It doesn't actually occur to me to ask why stamp. So I think I'll note it down and then ask him later.
I think it's more a stamp of trust, you know, because the idea of the blockchain really is to bring in more trust, you know, allowing machine to intervene, and it becomes an enabler. Unless Alain has a knowledge of this, because I know he also is working on this project. Okay, any other questions, comments? Yes, sir. Can we also, the mic to the right? You can throw it.
Thank you for the presentation. My question is regarding the funding model for Stamp.Africa and the structures that will be supporting it. You went a bit too fast through that slide, and it was so small that we couldn't read from this distance. So I would like to ask if you could please go through and present it to us. Or, well, not necessarily present it, but just recount the funding model. I think it's like close to the end, second last or third last, yeah.
Okay, so thank you. From my slide, I think I was trying to make the point that initially we were thinking of using a certain funding model, typically initial coin offering and then run it through the vehicle of NGO, non-profit governance something. I'm not in that field too, but I know it's NGO. But this was not, from the numerous comments we got, it wasn't supported because people normally try to associate these things with Ponzi schemes and stuff like that. So because of that, we wanted to move away, that this is not exactly what we are thinking. So then there was the decision that, okay, why don't we find a blockchain operator who will try to fund this project, okay? So, and then there was the need to form a company by I think limited by guarantee. I'm sure the finance people will be in the best position to explain this. But yes, I don't know if you are getting it. So that was first initial